You are now watching The Meech.
I often find myself wondering, what games should I cover next? I've covered games on many different platforms, but the ones that are the most intriguing, hands down, are the Nintendo 3DS Mario games. I know this might be a flamin' hot take, but the 3DS was easily Mario's weakest outing. Now sure, there were great games, Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon being my favorite 3DS game, and Mario and Luigi Dream Team was the last great Mario RPG, not including remakes or Rabbids. The reason why I'm not crazy about the 3DS Mario games is because they often fall short in crucial aspects. Mario Kart 7 had the best track selection in any Mario Kart game, but there's no versus mode, and even worse, no Waluigi. But the main issue is that many of the Mario games on the 3DS play it way too safe. This is what I like to call the dark era of Mario. New Super Mario Bros. 2 is pretty much a rehash of Wii, with a coin gimmick that resorts to nothing. And Paper Mario Sticker Star? Where do I even begin? But despite me thinking that many of the Mario games on the 3DS were mediocre, we might not be having this discussion today if it weren't for Super Mario 3D Land. 3D Land is often hailed as the game that saved the 3DS. Let me tell you, the 3DS definitely had a rocky start. Its absurd price at $250 at launch was one thing, but if you had to ask yourself, should I get Steel Diver or Dead or Alive Dimensions almost a year after the 3DS launched? That's when you know something went very wrong. But the 3DS quickly got a price cut and recovered partially because of that and 3D Land. The game launched on November 13th, 2011 with lots of music, videos, and extras. Oh wait, that's November 13th, 2007. Even though Super Mario 3D Land essentially saved a system, I've had a bit of a Tanuki-studded resentment towards the game in recent years. That's not to say it's bad, but compared to the other 3D Mario games, it didn't do much to leave an impact on me. But here we are over a decade later, and the Mario series has changed. Super Mario Odyssey is hands down one of the weirdest and most creative Mario games ever made. With that in mind, I decided to street pass greenlight the idea of replaying 3D Land because perhaps I was a bit too harsh. So the question is, did Super Mario 3D Land take the Mario series to new heights, or is it nothing more than Super Mario 3D bland? Our story begins with a hurricane taking over the Mushroom Kingdom. Toads begin to buy up all the super mushrooms and fire flowers, and super leaves go flying from the strong gusts of wind. It's up to Mario to use Bowser's secret stash of bombs to take down the eye of the hurricane and bring the Mushroom Kingdom back to normal. This is a story I made up in less than a minute, though I will say I did plan a hurricane party when I was 16, but I had to cancel it due to bad weather. The actual story? Bowser bad, rescue Peach. It's cliche and boring, but it's whatever. I will say the 2D artwork is really cool to see, and I'd love a new 2D Mario game in that style. After Mario ventures off to rescue Peach, you might be caught off guard if you played 3D Mario games before. That's because Super Mario 3D Land uses a traditional world map and has no hub world of any kind. Now sure, Super Mario Galaxy 2 also had a world map, but you could still explore Starship Mario before heading out to levels, but the kind of game Super Mario 3D Land is, a hub world hardly would matter. Similar to the Galaxy games, 3D Land is a linear 3D platformer, but unlike the Galaxy games being a great balance of linear and sandbox 3D Mario, this is purely linear 3D Mario. Miyamoto described the game as a 3D Mario that plays like a 2D Mario, and the description couldn't have been any better. The movement and mechanics are similar to that of a 3D Mario game, but the core gameplay is structured like a 2D Mario game. Your main objective is to reach the flagpole at the end of every level, and even though Mario's movement is similar to that of a 3D Mario game, it's been simplified a bit. The ground pound, wall jump, and long jump are all here, but gone are the triple jump, the spin jump, and any sort of attack. Part of the fun of 3D Mario games is controlling Mario, so having such a limited moveset is disappointing. You'll also need to hold on to Y to run, which is a bit odd. The 3DS had a circle pad allowing for movement in all directions. Why there's a run button is beyond me, but it didn't bother me. Even though Mario's base moveset is limited, Mario can gain many new abilities. The power-ups are handled just like they are in 2D Mario games, meaning that instead of a health bar, the power-ups serve as a health bar. Of course there are the traditional Super Mushroom and Fire Flower, but unlike in Galaxy, the Fire Flower has no time limit, but if there's one power-up 3D Land is defined by, it doesn't take a genius to find out. That being none other than the fan-favorite Poison Mushroom. Considering how notorious the Poison Mushroom is, I'm a little surprised they brought it back. Yeah, that was a joke. The power-up that 3D Land wants you to know is here, none other than the triumphant return of the Tanuki suit. This game has a Tanuki suit, and they want you to know full well that it's here. It's in the logo, and many enemies rock a Tanuki tail. But here's the thing, even though it looks like the Tanuki suit, it's only partially. You can hover and whack enemies with the tail, but you can't fly with it. I understand that it would have been overpowered with 3D Land's level design, and I'm fine you can't fly with it, but my main issue is that the Tanuki suit was brought back, even though there's another Mario power-up very similar to the Tanuki suit here, that being the Super Carrot from Super Mario Land 2. It's nearly identical to 3D Land's Super Leaf, with the only difference being the tail attack. That's something they easily could add to Bunny Mario. Yeah, Nintendo, we get it. We understand that you think the only nostalgia is for NES, 8-bit Mario, and Mario 3, but why do you completely ignore Super Mario Land 2? Oh well, I guess we'll have to stick to Mario Kart Arcade Grand Prix for Mario Land 2 references. Afternoon, Mr. Mario Kart 8 Sold So Well Deluxe. How the heck are ya? You have the Super Carrot as an item? Wait, you don't? Is that Pink Gold Peach? Get the heck out of here! Looks like we all know who really deserves the Deluxe moniker now. Even though the Tanuki suit isn't exactly like it was in Mario 3, it's very useful here. Hovering makes platforming more flexible, and some enemies can only be taken out with the Tanuki tail. Even though the Super Leaf is a highlight, it's not exactly a new power-up, but for those wanting something new, the Boomerang Flower adds a new spin to a classic power-up. Mario's put in Boomerang Brother gear, and can throw a boomerang. It can take out enemies a Fire Flower can't, and since it's a boomerang, it takes out enemies on the way back. There are pros and cons between the Fire and Boomerang Flower, but the Boomerang Flower is overall the better choice. Even though you can't fly with a Tanuki suit, there is a flight power-up. By getting a propeller block, you can fly vertically in the levels. It's very similar to the Propeller Mushroom, but unfortunately, it's only in a few levels, and once you clear a level, you lose it. I don't know why they just didn't add the Propeller Mushroom, but it's cool to see regardless. The way power-ups are usually handled in 3D Mario games makes them more situational. They're mostly used as keys to get stars, meaning that they're often underutilized. But in 3D Land, the power-ups act primarily as an extension of Mario's abilities. You will need them to get certain collectibles, but you could still beat the entire game as Small Mario if you wanted to. I love how when Mario shrinks, he also loses the hat. I'm not sure if it's a reference to Wario Land, but it's really cool. This is also in reverse when you get the maximum amount of 1-ups. Having fun power-ups is cool, but they mean nothing if the level design is subpar, and I'm happy to say that unsurprisingly, 3D Land has great level design. I would have liked the levels to be a bit more challenging, but they're still designed well and have more depth than you'd expect, figuratively and literally. 3D Mario games are known to showcase the hardware that they're on, and 3D Land is no exception. There are areas in the games that are structured like an optical illusion, and you'll need to crank up the 3D for the intended solution, but if you only have a 2DS, it won't be an issue and you'll figure it out. The main objective is reaching the flagpole, but each level has 3 hidden star medals. Similar to the star coins, you'll actually need a certain amount to progress similar to Power Stars, but in a normal playthrough, you won't need to go out of your way searching for them. They're hidden in places that make sense, and never did I find them cryptic. For a game that I apparently had a few gripes with, things are seeming unbelievably good, but despite great level design and fun gameplay, 3D Land has some noticeable shortcomings. There's a time limit in every level, and there's really no need for it unless we're counting the speedrun levels. It's an archaic concept, and to be honest, I can't think of a single series in recent memory that's used one besides Mario. It's not a major nuisance, but it's unnecessary. What I did have a major issue with is the lack of bosses. Mario games have usually had an issue with boss fights. The 3-hit fights are too easy, and it's time for them to go. But at least there's usually some variety. Super Mario 3D Land only has 3 bosses. The fake Bowser's return from Super Mario Bros., but the fights play out the same. There's also a new boss Pom Pom, who's essentially Girl Boom Boom, but unlike Boom Boom, Pom Pom can put up a fight. Alright, I've had an issue with Boom Boom for many years, and now is the time to unleash all my fury. Boom Boom is the worst piece of crap I've ever seen. All he did in Mario 3 is flail his arms around, and apparently, that means he's worthy of being a recurring boss. Boom Boom was never good. Boom Boom is stupid. Boom Boom is a guy in school who drank chocolate milk out of his nose. Pack your bags, Boom Boom, because my goodness, it's time for you to go. Even though Boom Boom isn't the main problem, he perfectly represents it. Super Mario 3D Land is generic. Other than the new 3D 2D gameplay, there's not much new. You're getting a few new enemies, a new power-up, but everything else, it's been done before. Don't get me wrong, it's not like New Super Mario Bros. 2, which is so derivative, it's hard to even call it a new game. There's no question 3D Land is a new experience, but why not have more interesting locations? If you're gonna have Super Mario Land in the title, why not take inspiration from those games? Super Mario Land 2 had a Halloween world, a microscopic greenhouse, and outer space, and that's a game that didn't even have color. There is no reason why 3D Land couldn't have more interesting locales. Even though it might not directly impact the gameplay, a lack of creativity leads to a less impactful and more forgettable experience. 3D Land has great gameplay and level design, but is hindered by a lack of creativity. But if there's one thing that remains consistent in every 3D Mario game, it's a presentation. 3D Mario games always take advantage of the hardware that they're on, so let's see how 3D Land holds up. Remember when everyone thought the 3DS was gonna fail because of the emergence of smartphones? Turns out the 3DS was the little engine that could, but considering mobile gaming was becoming mainstream, Nintendo wanted a feature to make the 3DS stand out. Looking at the majority of 3DS games released in 2011, you can tell full well that the 3D was the hot new thing, and 3D Land is no exception. The 3D is primarily used for depth, allowing levels to have more detail, sorta like you're viewing a sorta sophisticated Mario diorama. I for one love the 3D on the 3DS, and have it cranked up for most games, and even a decade later, 3D Land is still one of the most impressive. You'll often see fun little things like toads in the background, and the new ink piranha plants that shoot ink at the screen. Some of the levels even have a specific gimmick to showcase the 3D, but even without the 3D, the game looks great. Like I said before, I wish the locations and enemies were more creative, but what's here is colorful and fun to look at. Music, on the other hand, is unsurprisingly good. I really like the main theme. It's nowhere near as grandiose as the Galaxy games, but a lot of the tracks are new and sound good. The only issue with the presentation is, again, the theming playing it safe, but other than that, the presentation is excellent. If your only objective is to rescue Peach and defeat Bowser, 3D Land is a bit short, but if that's your objective, what on earth are you even doing? After you beat Bowser, you'll realize that your adventure is far from over. You'll unlock the new Special Worlds, which contain more challenging and remixed levels, and after beating the first Special World, you'll unlock the lean green ghost catching machine, Luigi. He is playable and has his signature abilities of a high jump, but poor traction. Having Luigi playable is always a win, and although you can't fly with the Tanuki suit, the Special Worlds introduce a new Tanuki suit to the game, the Statue Leaf. This allows Mario to turn into an invincible statue, just like he did in Mario 3. I did find the main game to be too easy, so having the Statue Leaf only in the Special Worlds was definitely a smart move. The Special Worlds have by far the best levels in the game. Unfortunately, there's no multiplayer or additional modes, but unlike the Switch era where we're always worried a game will launch with no content, 3D Land has an insane amount of content and a lot of replayability. So far we've established that Super Mario 3D Land has great gameplay, with great level design and fun power-ups. The presentation is also great, and there's a lot of content in the game, but it does fall flat because of how play it safe it is, and Boom Boom. So what's the verdict? I can say confidently that my impressions before revisiting 3D Land were indeed accurate. The game didn't do much to innovate the Mario series, and it still remains my least favorite 3D Mario game. Super Mario 3D Land gets the ranking of tragically wasn't as creative as it should have been. You seriously thought I'd deem the game as trash? While I do find it to be the weakest 3D Mario game, it's the weakest 3D Mario game. What does that mean? It means 3D Mario is so phenomenal, the only thing even close to a dud is a game that lacks creativity, but is overall a great game. You may wonder what I would have wanted 3D Land to be. The answer is more straightforward than you'd initially expect. Super Mario 3D World. 3D World has the same core gameplay, but has the creativity 3D Mario games are known for. Any issues I had with 3D Land other than the time limit were resolved in 3D World, and even then, that's hardly an issue. Super Mario 3D Land gets the ranking of treasure. It remains one of the best Mario games on the 3DS, but even then, I still like Dark Moon better. So what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments and keep calm and dada on.